Hello there, and welcome to our show. My name is Lou Wieland, and I publish the official relocation guides on Atlanta that are distributed by the First Multiple Listing Service of Atlanta. We have several different publications for different parts of town, and they're designed to acquaint people with the area. We have maps, and we profile the counties and the communities. And I'm also a commercial realtor with KW Commercial. If I can help you with any of your real estate needs, commercial or residential, my email address is louwieland@kw.com. And every week we interview community leaders, and we're trying a new series whereby we are interviewing role models in the real estate industry in cooperation with Lynn Dempsey, who's the Commissioner of Real Estate and the Commissioner of the Georgia Appraisal Board. And last week we interviewed the new President and Chief Executive Officer of Berkshire Hathaway. And this week we are interviewing Melba Franklin, who is the Director of Brokerage Services at Georgia Legacy Group. So welcome to our show, Melba. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you, Lou.
And Lynn, welcome back. And great to have you and working with you on this. Lynn was Georgia was the president of the Georgia Auctioneers Commission, or was a commissioner of the Georgia Auctioneers Association, and for many years, and been in the business of real estate for many years. And Melba, of course, is a native of Alpharetta, and one of those rare people who's actually a native of Alpharetta. Everybody else is a transplant practically. But she's been in the business for quite a while. She was began with Century 21, became managing broker of Coldwell Banker. In 1995, she joined RE/MAX as managing broker. 2011, Keller Williams as team leader of the Alpharetta. And today she owns two businesses, a real estate school, the North Atlanta Real Estate Institute, and a virtual assistance company, Personal Assistance Support Services. And she works for Georgia Legacy Group, which owns 3 Keller Williams Market Centers. And she is currently Director of Brokerage Services. So we'll start out with a rough question, Melba. And I know it's Lynn's job to put people on the spot, so I'll just follow that lead and ask you, Melba, what in your mind, how do you feel about the responsibilities of a role model? You've helped so many people, many over the years. I guess you started in 1978 in the business, and it's quite a responsibility. How does that play out in your life, and how do you discharge that responsibility of all the many people that you interview every day, or you
Really
interact with every day?
Lou, it's a good question. Role model, it sort of embarrasses me somewhat, but inevitably, because of things I've done and been involved in, obviously, I do appreciate and understand that I am a role model, and I got it. It is an awesome feeling. So it makes you want to be the best you can be in all that you do. And obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to find out I am 75 years old. So what can I do to continue to be the best that I can be? So as to be a role model and to continue to know that that's what I am portraying in what I do, I'm constantly learning. I love that. I love to read. I love to, that's what I do. I cannot learn enough. So I'm constantly in a mode of continually learning and being better at what I do so that I can share with other people and help them do what they do best.
What do you think constitutes an excellent realtor in our industry? What are the qualities and characteristics of excellence in our work?
Wow. Caring, trustworthy, integrity, Professional is very vague in a way, but being professional, I don't think you have to be the smartest person. I think you have an ability to have a great mindset, a positive attitude, and it's how you approach life. In other words, are you a learning based individual? Do you care about self mastery? So, what makes a successful person is the persons that will actually be that kind of person. Self mastery, a learning based individual, a person who cares about others, or a person that is trustworthy, a person that cares enough to continually learn the forms and be the best they can be in all that they do.
What do you think about what's your paradigm on that, Lynn?
Ms. Melba, it is so nice to meet you on this Zoom call first. And I am so honored to be here with you. And I loved your answer. Lou, I learned something when my daughter, my second child, my daughter was about to graduate from high school, and the headmaster of her school, Darlington School up in Rome, asked me if I would speak at her graduation. And all he gave me was a year to get ready for that. And I learned as I reflected over my own high school career, as I thought about education and I thought about learning and the importance of it. I began to reflect on my teachers and who they were and who the ones that had meant the most to me were. And I think through that exercise, I learned more about education than to that point in my life I had been able to learn. Because, I know, Melba, that you have invested in education yourself, not only in your career as you personally meet with your agents and counsel with them, but you also have a school. It sounds like to me, is it one or two schools that you have?
Just have one school, and we do not do pre-licensing anymore. We only do post-license and 3-hour CE classes.
Well, what I would like to emphasize as I answer Lou's question, the Real Estate Commission appreciates our educators, most of whom have practiced the real estate business as either licensees or some form of either being a buying broker or a selling broker or salesman. And as they have learned the business, they have learned from other agents, but they very importantly have learned through one of our schools, either pre-licensing or post-licensing, how to be a realtor. Now, whether they're going to practice the real estate business that way or not is up to them, but it helps us so much if we have educated people who have taken their education seriously. Then we're going to get a different product when we send a real estate agent, licensed salesman or broker, or appraiser for that matter, into the world, into the market. They are going to be so much better prepared. Education, you've just nailed it, Melba. It comes down to education as to how prepared they're going to be as they get out into the world, and what kind of service they're going to be able to offer. Because I don't think you can prepare a real estate person or anybody involved in sales properly without teaching service as well as the technical points they have to learn as far to sell real estate. And market
Right.
real estate. I like market so much better as a term than sell, because market captures so much more of the process that it takes to be involved in our business.
Right.
Well, I'm going to ask Lynn the same question. What kind of advice would you give to agents at different levels of experience? You have obviously helped many, many, probably thousands of agents over the years, which is one of the reasons we've asked you to participate, and because you've done it with dignity and a great deal of wisdom and intelligence. What kind of advice would you impart to agents at varying levels of experience in the real estate business?
Well, it's very simple. Do it. Don't stop. Just keep on keeping on. The real estate market is always going to fluctuate, but you cannot stop. If you want to be successful in real estate, you have to lead generate. And I tell everybody you have to do it. You know, I have a big banner that's in all of my classes that says do it. I can, Lynn made a good point. We do need the training and the educators, and we give them the information, but we can't assure that they're going to get out and do what we tell them. So whether you're new in the business or whether you've been in the business for a while, you just got to keep on keeping on. There's always going to be personal issues. There's always going to be market issues. There's always going to be issues, but you can't give up. You got to keep on. And it's all about lead generation if you want to be successful in real estate. Now, that doesn't mean you always need to continue to work on your business. But as we say, taking care of your business should never take precedence over finding business, regardless of where you are in your real estate career, whether you're new or whether you've been in the business for a while. So just do it. Mm-hmm.
I would add to that too, Lou. My father was the best salesman I ever knew. And the reason I wanted to follow him in the real estate business so desperately, just desperate to follow him and his example. He didn't teach much verbally. You better be watching him to learn from him. But he always said nothing succeeds like success. And success with him was a verb. It wasn't something that he tried to explain. He just would show you and his clients how he defined that concept. So I would love to watch how people like Melba do things. Just do it is such a perfect thing. What a great moniker to hang on your wall, because your folks are gonna learn so much more from you by watching you than from listening to you. You can, like you say, teach. Those great teachers that I had, as I reflected on what was important in high school and what I left from high school, they were important, but a soccer coach, was the best teacher I had. And he, and I say that because he told me, he said, Dempsey, he said, don't wait on the ball to come to you. You have to go get the ball. It's the best advice I ever got as far as being in business and working. You don't wait on the ball to come to you. Go get it. And people that I've watched in our profession, Melba and Lou, I love to be around members of the realtors boards across the state. I've visited all but 2 of them. There's 50 of them. And I've got appointments to visit them. But the people that are in the most demanding profession to exhibit leadership, in order to become president of the organization, you're going to be an officer for 8 to 10 years. And those people love being around professionals and people that will work to that extent to share and lead. And you're that kind of person. I could tell that by listening to you.
One of the key things in our business is protection of our clients, customers, our buyers and our sellers. And tell us a little bit about how that plays out, Melba, as a role model and how it really should be done from ideal situation.
So if I understand your question, it's how or what we do in my business and as a broker and helping agents is how we help them with their clients.
How do we protect them from anything, any kind of issues, our industry, our agents, and the bottom line is we need to protect our clients at any cost and do our best for them. How does that play out with you, and what kind of advice, and how does that work with you, and what extremes do you go to make sure that they are taken care of in the best way?
Obviously the clients that we work with are utmost important. And it goes back to basically what Lynn was saying. It happens at the very training is to make sure that they understand the client relationship that they have, whether it be with a buyer or seller, and the importance of that. So we try to strengthen that in our meetings, in our communication with our agents. We constantly have training classes all day, every day, in all of the offices that I'm involved in. We do our best to help our agents. I don't interact with the client. Usually if I do, it's on a negative level, but I don't seek those clients out. But we do try to help our agents. One of my philosophies when I train or when I communicate with an agent relative to a problem that they have, whether it be with a client or whoever, and particularly in training, I don't like to just tell you the answer or tell you what to do. I like for you to listen to what I say. You now understand it and you think. One of the things, my philosophy and some other people's, is I don't think we've encouraged our world to think, particularly our young people, to really process and think. So when I teach, I don't like to tell you this is the answer or this is what would be better done. I like for you to understand it and process it so that you better understand how to handle it in the future. Not just an answer for right now, but to really understand what I'm telling you and to embrace it and to internalize it so that now the logic of what the answer is clear to you rather than just an answer. So hopefully through all of that, it helps our associates better interact with their client.
Lynn, protection of clients is your primary function, right? Wouldn't you say? And
Yes, sir. Protect
how
the public.
would you address that
Protect
issue?
the public. That's our mission.
I'll bet a lot of people don't understand that concept totally. What do you do? How do you do that? How does that play out?
Well, it starts with our schools that teach really what the real estate profession is and prepares one to take an exam that makes sure that you understand the statute, the real estate statute, because we have a playbook in the real estate business and in the real estate commission. And that is the law that is now practically 50 years old. And it has been amended, added to, it's been changed, but not much. And so we make sure that people understand that are going to practice the business what the law is that you're going to be going by. So we have a roadmap. And it's very interesting. Over the last 3 years, we worked very diligently to define a concept called teams. And as it turned out, it turned out like none of us really expected it to. But I think we have a better law and a better understanding by brokers and salesmen now how that part of the market can work better. It was just an amazing process, and I'm thrilled with the way our commission interacted with the practitioners of the business to improve our law. I think that works best when the end product is nothing that you really expected when you started with it. Anyway, that's kind of the starting point. But then my way of thinking, so I want to interact with brokers and salesmen. I've found some of those ways to do that, besides just meeting with my 6 commissioners and my 24 employees here at the Real Estate Commission. If that's all that I did was to interact with my commissioners and my employees here, then I would be at quite a loss. But I have the ability to not only visit our schools, but we have a once a year school meeting. We have an education advisory committee that where people in the real estate business come from all over the state twice a year, and they advise the Real Estate Commission on matters that where we need advice. I'm working all the time with Georgia Association of Realtors, a wonderful organization where these real estate boards come from. That puts me in touch with organizations like Melba's in many ways, so that I get to know many of the brokers that our board is governing. I hear from people like Melba, and I do my best to be available and accessible to them. I have a great staff here, many of whom have worked here 20, 25, and even 30 years. So I'm free, thanks to the way we're organized, to be accessible. And one other group I'd love to mention is ARELO, which is the Association of Real Estate Licensed Law Officials. Almost every state in the country has an ARELO chapter, and we meet twice a year. This year, we've already met. Well, let's see. We've already met in Savannah. We're headed to Nashville the end of this month. And we talk about what's going on in other states. We share the good things. We talk about what are we going to do about realtors that are frustrated because they can't understand and take a test in the language that is native to them. Mm. And it's a big, big deal. What are we going to do about that? And are we going to make the real estate exam, which is only available in English right now, available in other languages? And if we make it available in one language, are we going to have to make it available in all languages? And these are complex questions. And so we've got other states, some of whom have tried this. And, it's great to have people like that to talk to about what other states are doing. So that's a way that we learn and that we can help make our market better for our realtors. And if we're making the market better for our realtors, I think we're doing the best we can to make it better for the public.
And Lynn, training is so intrinsically important to the well-being of agents, or realtors, and their clients. Well, I wish you would just address that issue and your experience when dealing with agents and today's training of our realtors?
Lou, just to verify exactly what you're saying, part of what we do at the Real Estate Commission is mediate problems between agents or between agents and their customers / clients. What we have the most complaints about that we have to deal with and mediate, and we have investigators that go through very, very exact processes to gather information before a case gets before the board. And one of the main problems we have is situations that arise as a result of a lack of training. When an agent has the knowledge that it takes to be a real estate agent, if he or she does not spend some serious time with an agent, sometimes, of course, people have worked very hard to get to the point where they have the licensing, they have the knowledge about the law, they have the knowledge about the basics, but they don't understand the problems that you can get into if you don't have the training from someone that's been in the business for a long time. That's the biggest problem we have as a real estate commission. And sometimes these problems can be very, very significant. Let's just use for an example, translating a deal that has been hammered out between a real estate agent and a buyer and a seller. That's three different parties. What has been agreed to has to be translated to a contract, correct? In other words, a real estate deal has to be in writing, to be official, to be legal. And the transcribing that agreement to a piece of paper, or in almost every case, many pieces of paper, takes a lot of training. And that's just part of it. That's just a small part of it. I mean, it's a very significant part of it. But in order for the correct part of that contract is going to most likely is there going to be an inspection of this house? Is it a new house? Well, there might not need to be an inspection, but depending on the experience of the builder, there still might need to be an inspection of that house. Zoning, planning and zoning. Is planning and zoning an issue with this home? If you're selling, then let's get into a little bit of a commercial and industrial situation. What do you have to know about the environment if you're selling a piece of industrial or commercial property? You have to know a lot about it. You have to know about how the community feels about a certain kind of construction. You've got to understand appraisal, and if you're going to have a loan involved, you've got to understand banking, and you've got to understand how the appraisal works into the banking part. So training is so multifaceted. And if you're not on the correct end of training, by somebody that knows what they're doing and has been there. And you heard Melba say, she has seen it all. Well, it feels like she has, but there's still things that she hasn't seen. And she's been in the business 45 years. So training is very, very significant. Work for someone that knows what they're doing and listen and learn.
And Melba, thank you very much for being on the show. Melba Franklin, one of the great people in our industry and somebody that has taught me a lot and has taught thousands of people over the years how to do things the right way. Melba Franklin, Director of Brokerage Services for Georgia Legacy Group. And thank you, Lynn, Commissioner, Georgia Real Estate Commission and Georgia Appraisal Board. And Lynn and I will be doing other shows going forward where we interview people who we admire and people who exemplify the very best in our industry. Thank you very much for watching. And again, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com is the website to look at for information about the area. It's a great resource. Whether you don't have to have a login or anything. It's you can just go right to the site, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com. And thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.